Welcome to the Exit Rich podcast, where the leading authority on buying, selling, fixing, and growing companies, Michelle Seiler Tucker, is dedicated to helping you find the path to retire rich and move on to your next adventure by exiting your business for the desired dream price you deserve. Get ready to exit rich with your host, Michelle Seiler Tucker.
Hello, all of our friends. Hello, all of podcast listeners, podcast Exit Rich listeners, Exit Rich subscribers. Sorry, we had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're here now. And, I just blame it on what do you blame it on, Don? The technical sky?
I don't know that there were atmospheric something somewhere in the world, and the platform that we were on didn't want to play well. So like all good digital marketers, we had a backup, and here we are.
Yes, indeed. So that's Don Williams speaking, ladies and gentlemen. And Don Williams has really some interesting subjects today, some of my favorites that we're going to talk. There's going to be a lot of golden nuggets here. So let's introduce Don Williams, my special guest. Don Williams is the CEO of Don Williams Global. In addition to being a two times number one best-selling, so two times best-selling international author. One is here in the United States and the other one is international, but author of the Do-It-Yourself Contact Center Toolbox and Romancing Your Customer. I've heard of that one. I've read that one. How to attract, retain, and win back customers for unbelievable loyalty. Gosh, wouldn't we all love customers to be loyalty? Client loyalty, folks, is where it's at. So, and profitability, and the creator of now here's my favorite thing, because I've been preaching and teaching this for probably 20 years. But the creator of the wow, and wow. I use wow. He's got 3 wows in here. So with a triple wow experience here. Don is a serial entrepreneur who started his first business in 1986 with, listen to this, guys, only $6,000 in working capital. That's extraordinary. Look at how much working capital it takes now to start a business. Or maybe we just didn't know Don's secret sauce. And so today...
Well, and maybe Don should have waited till he had a little more money. But,
maybe.
But it worked out.
But us entrepreneurs are really good on a shoestring budget, aren't we?
Yeah. Bootstrapping.
And so today, Don has founded a dozen companies, and we're going to get into some of those companies. Don's client list includes international and Fortune 500 clients. His passion is helping businesses develop and provide such exceptional customer, I call it client experience, that their market must reward them with dominance. Don't we all want market dominance? Yes, everybody, we all want market dominance. Comment right now if you want market dominance in your area, in your industry. So let's get this show on the road. Welcome to the show, Don. It's a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, my pleasure, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. I've been looking forward to this, and I will add one thing. So we probably sent you the wrong stuff. I'm actually a 4-time author.
Oh, you did? You sent me a very old bio.
Must have, my fault.
So go ahead and mention all the titles then.
My assistant. So the third book is Build Your Big Legacy, which is about intentional living. And the fourth book last year, Gratitude Stories from Our Hearts, and 24 additional authors helped me. And we shared stories about the power of gratitude in our lives. And I assure you, gratitude will bring power to your life too.
Absolutely. It's all about an attitude of gratitude, isn't it?
It is.
Gratitude. And so that's amazing. I've only done 3 books. I got a 4th one coming out. So I see you and I in a race. A race. And I want to say the finish line because there really is no finish line in entrepreneurship, is there?
There's not. You walk through a door, you can see it, you can see to the horizon, you get to the horizon, and then there's a new horizon. And I'm learning more now than I've learned in my entire 30 next month will be 37 years since I started my first company. And I was just a baby. I was only about 4 years old, people. No, that's not true. That's not true. But I was in my mid-20s when I started my first company. I didn't know that I needed adequate capital. And so the capital that I had was $6,000. And when I think back, oh my gosh, I convinced a commercial building owner to finish out a brand new space for me. He obviously did not look at my financials, and I signed a 3-year lease. And I think the day we opened the doors, if I recall, I had less than $100 left. And so I needed to sell something to somebody today. and I was fortunate in that I have for my own companies and for other companies helped win literally billions of dollars of business. Selling is a natural skill for me.
But you know what I like that you just said there? So let's unpack that. You said you went in and did a 3-year lease. Luckily, you didn't look at your financials, so you got lucky.
Yeah, for sure.
But the most important thing is you said, I have to sell something today.
Yes.
Today. And, like Les Brown always says, are you hungry? Are you hungry? How hungry are you? And I think that's one of the problems with a lot of salespeople today, and maybe even some business owners, entrepreneurs, is they're not hungry. They're not hungry. You have to get hungry. You have to have that sense of urgency that, oh my gosh, if I don't do this today, I'm not paying rent. I'm going to lose a space. My dreams of being an entrepreneurship is over. So you really have to have that hunger. And then the other thing I wanted to say about one of your comments is it's not so much about reaching that finish line and then seeing a new horizon. The joy is in the journey, not in the destination.
It is. Yeah, good point. And so that horizon continues to reappear at a different spot. And, one thing I've found with successful entrepreneurs, they're almost all lifelong learners. And so they're insatiable learners. You almost can't give them enough data. And who knows, with AI, maybe we're going to be the Matrix to where I can just, teach me how to fly the helicopter and they just download it into your brain. And now, I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but
that would be fabulous because, I wrote Exit Rich. I've been in M&A for 22 years now. And I started when I was 5. But at any rate, the biggest challenge in selling companies is getting that information out of that entrepreneur's head, because most business owners work in their business, not on their business. And I'm like, gosh, if I could just download all of that data, then we don't have to sell 60% of the company or 70% of the company to keep the owner on. But
yes.
I agree with you. Learning is the entrepreneur's journey. I mean, if you're not hungry to learn, then you're not going to be a very successful entrepreneur.
Yeah, if you're resistant to learning, that's a big challenge, man. That's hard to overcome. I think the simplest success system is this: ask for help, learn something new, and put it into action. Mm-hmm. And it's just 3 little steps. But if things aren't going the way you want them to in your business, ask for help, go to an expert. If you're thinking about selling your business, Michelle is an expert in that field. And so call an expert, learn something from the expert, and put it into action. And it's so simple, but many times people kind of get locked into their own brain, their own head, and they're just chewing on the same things month after month, year after year, and they don't really make any progress because they don't learn something new and act on it. It's not hard to be successful if you follow people who are already successful.
Exactly. The most successful people surround themselves with people that are smarter than them.
Absolutely. And if I were going to if I were going to, you're in New Orleans, if I was at
And you said it right, New Orleans, not New Orleans.
oh yeah, well,
Not New Orleans.
I have clients there. I'm there regularly. I love that town. But if I was at the Ritz downtown and I was looking to go to one of the stores on Royal, okay, one of the great antique stores, okay, and I knew how you got from the Ritz to one of those stores. If I put my feet in your footsteps, I get to the same place that you got. And so as entrepreneurs, we're creative. We're sometimes resistant to following advice. Sometimes we have to do it on our own. But the easiest way is just to put your feet in somebody's footsteps that has already made that journey. Actually, you can't show up anywhere else. If I follow your path, I get to where you got.
And you get there much quicker.
I do, because you blazed the trail.
And a lot less mistakes.
Absolutely.
Other people's mistakes.
Absolutely.
So I would love to dive into, well, number one, what was that first business you started with $6,000 worth of working capital? And then what are some of the companies that you've owned?
Okay, so
give them some insight to what you've done. The Albrecht Don Williams.
I'll do that. Can I go back a little bit further? So my first paying job, okay, you already know that I've been an entrepreneur for 36 years and I started when I was 5. Okay, but my first paying job, my grandfather was a wheat farmer in Kansas. And so I drove a green John Deere tractor behind the combines that were cutting the wheat at harvest. And so I think I was 11. And when I tell people that, they're like, wow. I was like, well, it's a different world. I was able-bodied. There was work to be done. And back then you did it.
Yeah, back then it was significant, because right now I can't get my 12-year-old to pick her stuff up off the floor.
Different world. And the other shoe, the rest of the story is I drove the pickup 9 miles from the house to the farm to get on the tractor. Okay. But I learned 2 things the first day. One, farming is really, really hard work. And so when you eat today, you should be saying, I am grateful for farmers, because it is hard work. And 2, I was never going to be a farmer. Okay. And so my first job, I took a sales job in college, and about 9 months in, as a part-time salesperson, I became the number 1 salesperson in the United States out of 450 people.
Wow.
And people would say, Don, you're a great salesperson. And I don't even know that I agree with that today. I'll say this: people like to buy from me, and I learned, let them buy. Okay. And then became the top sales manager in the country, and worked my way into partnership with the owner. Okay. Sweat equity.
Yes.
But he didn't pay me as agreed.
Oh.
And so I left, and I went and sold homes. And my first month selling new construction homes, I sold 17 houses, which is about a year's worth to everybody else. But people like to buy from me, and I let them. Okay. I don't think you can make people buy. I think you can make it very easy for people to buy. And if you're trying to grow your business so that you can then call Michelle and exit your business, the number one thing is, let's do more business. Let's grow that business. Let's sell more of whatever you sell to whoever.
And people don't buy product, people buy people.
Absolutely. The product, service, or experience to me is a side benefit.
Yeah.
They're really buying the person and the experience they have with that person. And so you want it to be easy, fun, and fast. Okay. People don't like hard, boring, and slow. Okay. Easy, fun, and fast. That's the way you want to do it. So my first company was a company by the name of Alliance. And we were a wholesale buyer service. So think like camping memberships. We sold memberships to where people could buy furniture, electronics, appliances, window and floor coverings direct from the manufacturer and save a lot of money. There's one still out there today but it's a wholesale club, but it's different than a Sam's or a Costco. You pay $500 or $1,000, or I think today they're like $2,500. Direct buy is a wholesale buyers club. It costs about $2,500, but then you can buy furniture direct from the manufacturer. And so after I sold homes, I became a competitor to the gentleman who I had worked my way into ownership with.
Yeah.
Okay. And so there's a rule: treat everybody the way you'd want to be treated. Okay.
Don't burn bridges.
Yeah. Because I went from 1 to 22 locations in a couple of years. No borrowed money, no partners. We did it the old fashioned way. We sold our way to growth. We just went and earned the money we needed.
A lot of people don't do that. They do that today. They raise capital, which is still selling, but it's not selling your products or services. It's selling capital into your company.
It is, but it's expensive because to raise that capital, you have to give up part of your company.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to give up any of my company. And so we just made our money and then reinvested it. And then I sold that company many years ago. And that was my first exit. I made some mistakes. I did some things right.
You didn't have Michelle.
I didn't have Michelle.
Tucker.
I didn't have Michelle. I didn't ask for help. I didn't learn something new, and I didn't put it into action. I thought I knew everything. And just about everybody I know who's done an exit who didn't use an expert will tell you the same thing. They left some money on the table.
Yeah.
Okay. They could have done a better job if they had worked with an expert. I've got a really good friend. He sold a company several years ago, and he was very concerned for his staff. And so it was part of the negotiation. You're going to keep the people on for X amount of time and blah, 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 blah. And to do that, he had to take a reduction, okay, in the purchase price of the company. And it was over $20 million exit. So it was all, it was a good exit, and his sharing that he shared with me later is he's like, when I did that and we closed the company, those key employees that I was trying to take care of, they came to him and said, my gosh, why didn't you just sell it? And we would have gone and got another job, shared some money with us. We would have gone and got another job.
Yeah.
But he didn't ask. And so there's another key there, Don't make assumptions about what other people think. Ask them. They'll tell you what's important to them. And so I started that company, built it to 22 locations. We were in Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico.
Right. The exit wasn't great on this company?
Oh, it was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. It was good. Was that the $20 million exit?
No, that was not 20.
Okay.
But it was good, but it would have been better had I had some professional help.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't know what I didn't know. And that's all of us all the time.
Right. Right.
We don't know what we don't know. And it makes so much sense. I didn't hire my first coach till I was in my 50s. Okay. And
I never got a mentor until like 2011. So,
see?
Yeah.
And so, we're kind of an independent crowd. We're a little resistant to authority. We don't ask for help well. Those are traits on all entrepreneurs.
Why are you talking about me, Don?
Yeah, well, you and another 5 million entrepreneurs out there. But the thing is this, if you're going to do an exit and you don't get a pro, that's crazy. If you want to grow your company, if you want to grow your sales and it's not your core skill set and you don't hire a pro, that's crazy. One of my clients in 2022, okay, and this is a pretty big client. So basically, I consult with him, which means I talk to him. That's my main deliverable. I talk to him, but I know things he doesn't know, and I know people he doesn't know. He came to me with an operational problem, and in 30 minutes, I gave him a solution that brought 3.6 million to his top line, and it's a high margin service. 2.4 to his bottom line in 30 minutes. Now, his fee with me is over $200,000 a year. Do you think he cares?
No. I had a $3.6 million result. Of course not.
And 2.4 in his pocket. 2.4 bottom line.
Oh. Now, here's what some people would say, well, I'm still paying too much, because then they tend to get greedy. But for the most successful entrepreneurs, they're gonna be like, I spend that money any day. I'll
It's
spend
like
100,000 any day. Yeah, we have the Road to Exit Rich program, kind of the same thing, where we get businesses ready to exit rich based upon our 6P method. And we're helping them, decrease cost, increase profits, increase revenues, et cetera. And they don't complain. And none of them complain. Yeah. And you got to kind of be a psychologist too. I mean, I'm working with one company right now where the husband, the wife, and the daughter, and the daughter and the daughter and the dad were fighting. She would not give him anything he asked for, KPIs, all this stuff. She was in a high-end position in the company. And I'm like, and they go, she just wants to do training. And I go, look, figure out the source. Why does she want to do training? Mom, take her out, have a couple margaritas with your daughter and figure out. Anyway, we ended up moving her to training because she's getting a divorce. She has kids. She just wants the attention from all these men that she's training in this industrial environment. And guess what? Now she's trained her predecessor, and her dad gets everything he wants. And now they're daughter and dad again. But yeah, you got to be kind of a psychologist, don't you, Don?
you do. And, in my consulting practice, I always, people say, well, what's the system? I'm like, well, the system is assess, recommend, and then help you execute. Yeah. Okay. But it's always very custom because companies and people are so different. Okay. And what I look for is what are the smallest changes I can make. And the reason I look for the smallest changes is because change is really, really, really hard for people. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's a human thing. It's hard. So I look for the little changes that'll make the big difference.
Yeah, okay. That made a big difference in our company. And you probably tell people what I tell people is get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it's only in that the uncomfortability is when you grow.
Absolutely. Start scared, do it ugly. Okay. And, get
a mentor so you don't have to be scared all the time and do it ugly all the time.
Absolutely. And on comfort zone. So here's my thoughts on comfort zone. Your comfort zone is, you like your comfort zone because it's comfortable. Okay. I like my chair because it's comfortable. Okay. But if I get out of my comfort zone, you know what happens? My comfort zone grows. And if I get out of my comfort zone again, it grows. And if I get out again, it grows. Okay. And so at this point in my life, I'm trying to run out of my comfort zone every day, because the further you get out of your comfort zone, the more your comfort zone grows.
1,000%. So what do you think was the one thing? I don't know if you ever read the book, The One Thing by Keller Williams, Gary.
Yeah.
What's his name? Gary Keller.
Gary Keller.
Yeah, Gary Keller. I've met him a few times. But what is the one thing that you think really contributed to the success of your businesses, and your client's business?
So I am a people person.
Oh, I never known that.
And I don't care what business you're in the people business. You may think you sell car batteries. You're in the people business. You're not in the car battery business. And then this is just my makeup, but my mission is to help people who help people. Okay. And I like helping people. That feeds my spirit, but I really like helping people who are helping other people. Mm-hmm. And so some of that is nonprofit. I have nonprofit clients, but I enjoy helping business owners who their product, service, or experience makes the world better. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so like your business, you change people's lives. Mm-hmm. Okay. I love that. Okay. You're good for the buyer and the seller. And so I like to work with companies where they're making a difference. And so I think early on, I realized, it's all about people. Mm-hmm. And I love helping people who help other people.
Great. Awesome. I thought you were going to say that your secret sauce, or that one thing, is creating that the triple threat experience for clients, because that is so important. And I've been talking about this for years. And Dr. Needle Cobain, who's a very good friend of mine and the president of High Point University, actually has a director of WOW and a director of UnWOW, because every WOW will move you up that branding ladder from WOW absence to brand advocacy, where people are telling everybody you must do business with Don Williams, you must do business with Seiler Tucker. Every unwell will bring you back down that ladder from brand advocacy to brand absence. So we actually have a director of WOW and a director of Unwell. We actually have a book. So we have a notebook for director of WOW and a notebook for Unwell. And so when somebody in the company does something to really increase client service, it was a WOW experience for a client, that goes in that book. When somebody really messed up, didn't schedule something properly or whatever it was, but in Unwell, that goes in the book for training purposes. And that's what I train my clients to do. So let's dive into your secret sauce.
Well, so let me share my thoughts on WOW. Okay. If you want to bring big, this is not a little magic wand, this is a big magic wand. If you want to bring big magic to your business, you have to deliver the WOW. And here's WOW. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, WOW starts at 11 and goes on to infinity. Okay. So I'll share a short story. A couple of years ago, we have some theft in one of our companies. Somebody steals some checks.
That happens 3 out of 5 business owners.
Fills them out, forges my signature. We don't find it until the accountant is reconciling the bank account the following month. Call the bank, say, we got to close the account. We had a theft. Pardon me. And so they're fine. They're like, are you going to fill out a police report? And I'm like, yes, it's theft. It's against the law. It's wrong. Yes, we're going to fill out a police report. We do. The bank says, hey, would you give us a copy of it? I'm like, okay. And so maybe 2 months later, I'm in the bank, and I only go to a bank maybe once a year. Okay. I mean, I'm fortunate I have people who do that. But I'm in the lobby of that bank, and the head teller says, hey, Mr. Williams, I have your money. I was like, what money? And she said, you know, that money that was stolen? I was like, yeah. She's like, well, I have it for you. I'm like, whoa. You guys didn't make the mistake. We didn't secure a box of checks. Somebody got into the stack, stole some, forged them. She said, I know, but we're returning your money. Yeah. I'm like, wow. You understand, my fault, not your fault. I don't want you, I never said it was your fault. It's totally my fault. Okay. Yeah. But they made good on it anyway. And man, that's a wow. We flew Emirates to Thailand. They sent a driver to pick us up at the house. They fed us on demand. Before I even sat down, the flight attendant came up to me and said, Mr. Williams. So I've not sat down. To this day, I do not know how she knew who I was. She said, would you like to see a wine list? Well, I fly 1 million miles a year. I mean, I'm always someplace other than
your name is up there.
I don't know how she did it, but I love American Airlines. That's who I fly the most. I live in Dallas, Fort Worth. But the wine choice on American Airlines is typically red or white. That's it. You want red, you want white. Well, at Emirates, she shows me, I order a 14-year-old French Bordeaux.
Oh, wow.
That's what I said. Wow.
I'm going to fly with it.
I'm blown away. So
I think, who are you talking about right now? American Airlines is moving down the ladder. And was it Ever? You said Ever Airline? What airline? Emirates.
Yeah. And I will say this, and because I love American, I fly American a lot. They have really improved in, say, the last 10 years.
Yeah.
United, you see in the news regularly, and United does something where they drag somebody off a plane, where they are not.
France is having big issues right now.
Yeah, where they're not only not delivering the wow, they're just not even behaving with decency sometimes. And that's, you cannot recover from that. Your brand cannot recover from that. And so I think if I deliver wow, and in my companies, I literally want to hear my customers say the word. And when I speak from the stage, I want to hear them say the word. When I do workshops, I want to hear them say, wow, that was amazing. Okay. I want people to go on Google and give me a 5-star review after they're done. I want somebody listening today to go on Google and give me a 5-star review and say, I saw Don Williams with Michelle. That was amazing. Okay. And I want to deliver at that level.
Yeah, 1,000%. And I'll give you a wild story of my own. I was actually flying to California, my husband and I, and the company, I was speaking at an event. The company sent a limo for me. And I get there and I go, oh my goodness, I forgot my business cards. This was several years ago. And I'm in the limo going, oh my God, I forgot my business cards. What am I going to do? I was on the phone with my office and he goes, no problem. I said, what do you mean no problem? He goes, just email me the file for the card. I'll go to a printer that we use. I'll print them out. How many do you need? I said, I need at least 250, 300. He says, I'll bring them to the hotel the next morning or to the event. And he bought me 500. Didn't charge me a penny.
So let me give a wow in your hometown.
Okay. And
I and my
y'all listen up.
I and my wife are flying to New Orleans. Okay. I'm working on my presentation. It's going to be at 7:00 the next morning. Okay. I'm working on it. When we get to the gate, as we're landing, the flight attendants, you got to put it up. I'm like, okay. So I slam my laptop and I put it in the seat back. I have a Zoom call that starts while we're still on the plane. And so I'm getting my wife, my luggage. I'm on the Zoom call. We get all the way to the hotel downtown. It's the Hyatt, which is a big high rise downtown. Okay. I get up to the room. I'm like, I got to finish the presentation. I've left my laptop in the seat back. American Airlines. I'm trying to call and get a hold of somebody. No airlines is easy to get on the phone. Okay. And so I do finally get a hold of somebody. I'm online. My wife's on the phone. I get a hold of somebody and they're like, look, your best bet's to go back to the airport because if it hits lost and found, it goes to Omaha. You probably never see it again. So back downstairs, catch an Uber. I'm going to the airport. He's like, you got no luggage. You got nothing. I tell him my story. He kind of rolls his eyes. I'm like, look, I'm a man of faith. I believe in it's going to be there. And I can use a little of your faith too. It's a big ask. We get to the airport and he's like, I'm waiting on you. I want to hear if you got it. I go to the ticket counter. I tell them my story. They're like, go down carousel 8. Okay, is where our lost and found is. I go in there. There's 2 ladies. They're bored to death. Okay, and I tell them my story, and they're like, well, we had one turned in. If you can turn it on, if your password will turn it on, it's yours. Well, it was mine. Okay. And so I go back. My Uber driver has a renewing of his faith because he's seen my laptop story. I get back to the hotel. They're doing remodeling. And so I have to go up to the lobby's on the 11th floor. Weird. Okay. But they're doing remodeling. And I go and I'm like, look, I got this presentation tomorrow. I got to print 15 copies of a 20-page booklet in full color. Where's the business center? And she tells me, we don't have a business center. Now, at this point, I could have cried. It's 7:00 at night. Okay. I'm like, where's a Kinko's, a FedEx Kinko's? I got to have it. That's going to cost me $2 a page. It's going to cost me $600 probably to get it done. The manager comes out and he says, can I help you? And I was like, I just need to know where FedEx Kinko's is. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I got to print 300 pages in full color. He's like, I'll print it for you on the executive printer. I'm like, you understand? Man, that is so nice, but you understand it's 300 pages up and it's full color. He's like, I'll take care of it, Mr. Williams. And so what a wow experience. And man, if you want to see some world-class hospitality, go to New Orleans. They got it everywhere.
Which hotel was that?
I want to say it was the Hyatt.
Okay.
Downtown. It's like a block or 2 kind of out of the quarter. But
by the Superdome? There's a couple of Hyatts. We have a couple of Hyatts.
Yeah, I want to say it was the Hyatt, but just blew me away. And so those type experiences, customers will talk about forever. And they just,
I'm saying, you go up, right? You go up.
Yeah. They become evangelists.
Yeah.
So I told the Emirates story last week. I spoke 3 times last week and I told it at one of the events. And somebody came up to me afterwards and said, do you get paid by Emirates? I was like, no, I didn't. That wasn't a commercial. That's a true story. That really happened. Okay. And, if a company delivers a real wow, they've earned the right for somebody to tell other people about it.
Yeah.
Customer service as an overall is horrible.
1,000%. And then you got these social media companies like Facebook or, Twitter, any of these companies. You can't get a hold of anyone. I remember one time I was charged an extraordinary amount of money. And I'm like, is there a number? How do I get in touch with somebody? Luckily, I had somebody who used to work for me who went to work at Facebook, so I could call him directly. So he could figure out the problem. But I wanted to give a wow story too, because one thing because I think this is so important, because you said customer service is so terrible, and I agree with you 1,000%.
Even worse since COVID.
Yes.
Even worse.
Even worse. And most business owners don't think about creating wow experiences. It's like an unusual concept to them, something they never heard of. And to me, it's common sense, but common sense is not so common anymore. But Dr. Needle Cobain of High Point University, because you can't just go out and create a wow experience without really kind of knowing. Yes, it is common sense, like them say, oh, I practiced 300 pages, and it's good faith, and it's trying to do the right thing by people, like my limo driver did, and he went out of his way to print those cards, and he paid for them. He never asked to get paid. But you kind of have to understand your customers too, your clients, to really create those wows. Dr. Needle Cobain, when he has students come in, the first thing they ask is, what's your favorite drinks? What's your favorite snack? What's your favorite book? Your hobbies, your this, your that? Because there are times that no matter how hard you try, you're going to mess up that wow. Somebody in the organization is going to mess up that wow experience. And now you got to try to turn that unwow into a wow. And so what Dr. Needle Cobain does, he said a shower was broken, and he's very good friends. I'm very good friends with him. But he says the shower was broken. They couldn't take a shower. They had to go to class. And he has a director of wow and a director of unwow. So the director of unwow went to the student's file and said, okay, they like this and this and that. They like M&Ms and they like Fritos and I'm like, Pepsi, whatever it is, and created this huge basket with a note that says, we are so sorry for your inconvenience this morning. Please forgive us. Your shower is fixed. And he created, and the other thing he did that I thought was fascinating. So in the laundry room, boys will be boys, right? Boys will always be boys. So the boys were taking women's stuff. I'm not going to say what that stuff was, but I think you can use your imagination. And so they were stealing their stuff. And so the women were complaining. It's like, all right, we'll fix that. So he put like a little controls or GPS or whatever you call, to tell the students exactly when the washer has stopped, so they can run there, put them in the dryer, and when the dryer stops, so they can go get their stuff. So it buzzes their phone. It says, you can get your laundry now. But he literally has a director of wow interviewing these people up front. Even his employees said, okay, what do you like? Da, 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 da. And then director of unwow when there are mistakes made, which I think is huge.
I love that. And I want to emphasize 2 points you made. One, the business that left their customer unfulfilled came and said, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
People will forgive you if you stand up and take the bullets in the chest. Yeah. We screwed up. I don't know why. I don't know how. I wish I could undo it. All I can say is I'm sorry. Almost every time your customer will be like, it's okay. Yeah. All right. It's not a big deal. And the other.
How many times they don't want to say they're sorry, Don? They want to argue back and say, well, you did this and this and this, Or,
yeah. And then they're gone forever. There's no way to come back.
And what you call a customer acquisition cost. Every business owner listening right now, every entrepreneur should be asking themselves, what's your customer acquisition cost? It's so much less expensive to keep a happy client than to go out there and try to find new clients. We all know that in business.
That's true. Absolutely true.
But why do you think customer service is so bad? And, me being an expert, I feel like I'm an expert in this industry. I'm like, here's another bad person, you should be doing this, this, and this. Like, it drives me crazy. Why do you think it is so bad? And why do you think people don't focus on creating wows? And how do we fix it? I know you're fixing it one business owner at a time.
We're fixing it one business owner at a time. And we have a new training app that's coming out in the next quarter that we're gonna fix it. We're gonna help people in a big way. But I think it's the old 20-60-20 rule. So if I was running a sales crew of 10 sales reps, I probably have 2 of them that are, man, they're champs. They're studs.
80-20 rule. It's the 80-20 rule.
Well, kind of. That's the 20-60-20 rule. So the 20%, they're studs and studettes. They're champs, man. They just make it happen. The 20% on the bottom, they're chumps. They're duds. They're not studs. They're duds. They're not champs. They're chumps.
Those are the ones that want the high salary and a very low commission.
Yeah. And then the 60%
low salary, higher commissions.
Oh yeah. If they're a real stud, they want commission.
Yeah.
And then the 60% in the middle are just that. They're the 60% in the middle. Well, if you look at business across America, I would tell you that probably 20% really makes it an important part of their business to deliver a great experience, to deliver that wow. Mm-hmm. And 20% flat don't care. Mm-hmm. They don't care at all.
And then they wonder why their business is terrible.
And the 60% in the middle are just in the middle. I can remember a mobile phone company, a couple of years ago. It's probably been 10 years ago. I had a dispute with them. I was in the right. They were in the wrong. Okay. Look at your phone bills, people. Look at your phone bills. There's all kinds of stuff in there.
Why is that?
Well, I don't know, but I don't want to say. But anyhow, there was a dispute. I was in the right. They were wrong. And I was like, look, I've been with you a long time, 15, 20 years. I'd hate to leave. And literally the customer service person said, would you like me to disconnect your service?
Oh, so that's poor leadership.
That's
poor leadership.
Horrible. I won't name them because I'm over being angry about it. Here's another one. One of our call centers, one of my businesses in the call center business. Okay. We do outbound, cold call, business to business, lead generation, and it works for everything. And so we had a problem to where it's kind of like we had no power. We have no phone service, like somebody cut the line. We go 2 days. And so finally I'm talking so it's not me, I got people that are handling it, but after 2 days, I'm like, who do I got to call? Who do I got to shoot? What are we going to do here? Okay. I get somebody on the phone and he's telling me, well, it's going to take however long it's going to take. And I'm like, hey, I want to know your name. And he says, no, I'm not giving you my name. And he's a supervisor. And I'm like, okay, all right. Well, here's my name. My name's Don Williams. You should write that down. Mm-hmm. Okay. And when I hung up with him, this was today's version of AT&T, but at the time it was Southwestern Bell. And before that, it was AT&T. So I call Southwestern Bell's home office, which is in San Antonio, Texas. I do not call the 800 number. I call a 210 number. I call the local phone line. I get an answer.
Well, lucky that you found one, though, because a lot of times you can't even find local numbers.
Yes, but if you look
really hard,
you can find one. And so they answer the phone. I say, my name's Don Williams. I'm an unhappy customer and I want to speak to Ed Kilpatrick, who is the CEO of Southwestern Bell. Now, I'm not yelling, I'm not screaming, but there's a certain edge and purpose to my voice. She asked me if I'll hold 1 second. I do. He does not come on the line. A lady, I'll say Marianne comes on the line. She's like, I'm his personal assistant. Would you give me the opportunity to fix whatever the problem is? I'm like, sure. And so I tell her the problem. And 10 minutes later, the supervisor, who wouldn't give me his name, is calling me to apologize. Mm-hmm. And 3 trucks are showing up. And it turned out it was something simple. there's phone service from my building to a central office is how the wired phone service works. Well, to keep the signal strong, sometimes in the middle, there's a piece of technology called a repeater. So it basically takes the signal, bumps it up, and passes it on. Well, it was fire ant infested. And so that was the ultimate problem, but it might have taken them a week to get it. But literally, that location is out of business. I got 100 people that are sent home. It's not their fault. It's not my fault. It's not my client's fault. I just need some good service. So if you get bad service, I think it's important that you tell whoever gave it to you, this is bad service.
Yeah. But from a business owner's, entrepreneur's perspective, is that because the employee doesn't care, is doing a terrible job, or is it a leadership?
Typically starts at the top.
It starts at the top, but sometimes you can start at the top and you give all the training, all the leadership, you got a bad egg.
And if you do, you need to replace the egg.
Yeah, you got to reball that egg.
Yeah.
Get rid of that egg, slow to hire, quick to fire.
That can happen.
Yeah.
But companies where it is a priority typically do a really good job.
Yeah.
So make it a priority.
So many companies fail. Like you just said 60%. Well, I think you said 60% fail at delivering that wow experience. And which to me is a really high.
No, I think 20% are delivering the wow.
Yeah. And
20% are anti-wow, and there's 60% in the middle.
That don't get okay. They're in the middle.
Yeah.
All right. So what can business owners do? What's your recommendation? What tips do you have for business owners? Because look, it's all about retaining the clients. It's all about happy clients, happy life. Happy wife, happy life, happy clients, happy life, right? Happy business, happy employees. What's your recommendations? Some steps? Do you have some tips that business owners can take?
So I'll give you some, but here it's always the big three. Ask for help, learn something new, act on it.
And get an expert. And so if that's not your core competency, you really don't know how to
then get somebody. Go buy this book, Romancing Your Customer. Okay, it's $19.99. Every penny above the publishing cost goes to St. Jude Children's Hospital.
Oh, that's wonderful. My very first book, Sell Your Business for More than It's Worth, went to St. Jude's, a percentage. Not every penny, so I can't say that, but a big percentage went to St. Jude's.
Love that. Well, we cover the publishing cost, okay, but what would be our profit?
Yeah.
We donate. And so anything that is not a natural skill for you. If accounting is not a natural skill, to grow a big company, you're going to have solid accounting practices.
Well, most entrepreneurs need a good accounting, and you got to have those checks and balances. Like,
no doubt.
Gratify businesses to get embezzled. You just talked about your experience. So you want
to get help.
Yeah, you got, again, hire the experts, hire people that are smarter than you, get yourself, I call it a really good mentor, and do your due diligence, because there's a lot of people out there that say they're great mentors, but they haven't had success themselves.
Well, true. And so, today one of the things that really helps is you can, like in 20 seconds, you can do a little due diligence on every potential partner or vendor. All you have to do is go look at their Google reviews, go look at their LinkedIn recommendations, go look at their face. They can't fake it. It's like you want to know a good restaurant, and like New Orleans is full of good restaurants.
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, most unbelievable food anywhere. But people go to Yelp because you can't fake it. They got 6,000. They got 6,000 Yelp recommendations. 5,900 of them are phenomenal. 100 of them are not. So 100 times people had a bad experience, but you can't fake that. Somebody's got, 25 5-star Google reviews. They're probably doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
They got 25 1-star Google reviews. I assure you, they're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
And people will talk,
People will talk. I've had my lots of unwell experiences. I keep saying, I know to go put something up there, and then I get too busy. I'll give you an unwell, because I haven't given you an unwell yet, right? So I was at Do I say the name or do I not say the name? Or none else?
Oh, don't. Let's
No, okay.
let's take the high road.
In Sarasota, I'll say that much. And we were having a business meeting after a conference that I was speaking at. And I thought I left my phone up there because I couldn't find it anywhere. And I need my phone. I mean, if you lose your phone, it's like losing your arm, your hand, your body and your mind. And anyway, so I went to the manager at the front desk and she says, well, we're sorry, we lock it all up at 11. I said, well, can you get security to unlock it so I can look? No, we don't do that. Why not? Well, it's our policy. I said, but it's my phone. I have a daughter. She calls me. I need to have my phone if there's an emergency. Well, we don't do that. I said, can't you make an exception this one time? No, we don't do that. And then she became really, really, really rude. And never followed up with me to say, she says, oh, we'll follow up with you in the morning as soon as it's unlocked, which she never did that. And luckily, though, my client grabbed my phone and put it in her bag. But that's a horrible unwow, right? You can't make an exception and unlock the door. So you got to ask yourself, is that a corporate policy? Or is that the employee just being difficult?
Yeah.
Either issue or is that an employee issue? In that case, I think it was an employee issue.
Probably was. And that's why I recommend if you get exceptional service, tell somebody. If you get horrible service, tell somebody. Companies can't get better if you're just silently mad or silently frustrated. Okay. And so I not only want to be romancing my customer, I want to be romanced as a customer. So
1,000%.
I fly a lot. I fly American most of the time. I'm fortunate that I get to sit up front most of the time. And so but it's funny to me how the flight attendant, male or female, they're in first class, so they have a certain amount of seniority. Okay. And they're going through and they're taking drink or dinner orders, and literally the passenger looks straight ahead, never even looks at them, never even acknowledges them as a person. I'll have a white wine, I'll have the chicken, whatever. And so when the flight attendant comes to me, I'm always going to turn. I'm going to look them dead in the eye. I'm going to give them the biggest smile I can. Their name is on their, they got their name badge, but I'm always going to ask, what's your name? And they're going to tell me, I'm going to be like, hi, Sally, my name's Dawn, and I'm thrilled to be here today. And so if you do that, here's what you'll find for the 2 or 3 hours or however long that flight is. The other passengers will pretty much ignore the flight attendant. I gave her 10 seconds attention, but it was 10 it was 10 good seconds. Okay. And so, I'll get this red carpet, white glove, Rolls Royce service, and the other passengers will get adequate service. Okay. And then people wonder, well, why didn't I get good service? It's like, it's a good business to do good. It's good business to be good. So, if you want great service,
it's got to go both ways, 1,000%. And they have these poor flight attendants. They have so many customers treating them terribly. They put up with a lot. So
they do.
I think that's a great tip.
I couldn't imagine being a flight attendant. You do 3 flights a day, typically. So they fly to, like here, Dallas Fort Worth. They fly to New Orleans. They fly back to Dallas. They fly back to New Orleans. Okay, so they do 3. And there's 300 people in the plane. So every day that I work, I see 1,000 people walk on my silver tube and walk off my silver tube, and I'm going to do it for 20 years. I mean, I just can't imagine. There's no way I could do that. And so realize that everybody is, if you have empathy for people, you'll realize that everybody's fighting a battle somewhere in their life. It doesn't cost you a thing to be nice.
Absolutely.
And it will pay big dividends.
Yeah. So what's your 3 tips to the entrepreneurs, some entrepreneurs, my business owners listening today, to really gain and maintain customer loyalty, because clients are really loyal anymore unless you create that wow experience, unless you underpromise and overdeliver. Do what you say you're going to do, but certainly underpromise and overdeliver and create that wow experience. What's your 3 big tips for business owners to really be able to maintain client loyalty, to maintain their clients? Because there's so many businesses losing clients. I mean, there's another big hotel in the city that provides terrible service by the bartender. She's actually she charged me and a friend of mine for drinks we never had. First she said, oh, y'all are cut off, which I don't know why, we had 2 drinks. And then she charges for drinks we never had, $70 for 1 hamburger we ordered. And the management team, oh, she's a great employee, nothing's going to happen to her. And so she's ripping us off, she's ripping everybody off. But so I think this is great for corporate. I think this is great for management. I think this is great for entrepreneurs to really learn, what are those 3 massive tips?
So other than hiring Don Williams at Don Williams Global, which is always a good idea. Okay. Let me say this. 1, decide that you're going to deliver experiences on the level of wow. It will not happen accidentally. You'll have to make a decision. We're going to do a better job. 2, you got to be intentional. 2, the glasses, the perspective, how you see things. You have to quit seeing things from your perspective, and you have to see things from the customer's perspective. It's the only perspective that matters. It doesn't really matter what you think. It only matters what they think. Steve Jobs knew this so well. He told all those brilliant programmers, that brought inventions to the world that nobody had ever done. He said, look, we start with the user experience and we work backwards to the technology. Most companies do it the other way around. They start with technology and work to the user experience. So 1, decide you're going to do the wow. 2, see everything from the customer's point of view. 3, ask a lot of questions.
I like Dr. Nino Cobain at High Point University. They have a program where they ask these students all these questions so they know what a wow is and what to do when there's an unwow and how to satisfy.
Yeah, because you think you know what people think, but here's a funny thing about humans. Humans think they are right almost all the time.
Yeah.
The reality is humans, I'm wrong far more often than I'm right, but I always think I'm right. And so the only way I can know if I'm doing it right in my customer experience with you is I have to ask you, did you like that? Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What can I do better?
Yeah, that's why customer surveys are so important. People
will tell you. And when you do a customer survey, if you send a 42 question survey, they're not going to do it. I really want to know 2 things based on your experience right now on a scale of 1 to 10. What is it? Mm-hmm. And would you come back on a scale of 1 to 10?
And will you tell other people to do business with us?
Because they will. If they have exceptional experiences, they'll tell their friends, they'll send referrals, they'll stay longer, they'll spend more. It's almost nirvana for a company to have great customer service. The big consulting houses, Bain, Deloitte, McKinsey, they will all tell you that if you do one thing in your business, you go from delivering okay experiences to exceptional experiences, it's worth up to 20% top line growth. So if you're a $2 million company, it's worth up to 2.4, and you didn't spend any money. Okay. And you didn't change anything. You started doing things from the customer's point of view.
Okay. That's a good idea. Any other last minute tips before we get into how people can find you?
I got a bunch of tips. Go buy the book. We'll send some money to St. Jude. Okay.
And what book is that again that you want them to buy?
So I want them to buy them all, but romancing your
I want to
customer.
buy them all. Let's start with one.
Romancing your
customer.
romancing your customer. Okay, talks about customer experience, and the reason I use that title is because I see the customer journey. We know about the customer journey, and to me, it's like the romantic journey. So marketing is a little bit like dating.
Mm-hmm.
When I say I do, it's a little bit like signing the contract with the customer.
Mm-hmm.
We move into customer service, which is marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I got to take care of the culture, my family. I got to romance them. And then the hardest person to romance is always yourself. But if you're empty, you cannot fill other people.
Wow. Say that again. That was a big golden nugget. If everybody caught that.
If you're empty, you cannot fill other people. So for years, psychologists have told mothers, man, you got to take care of you. You can't take care of those kids. You can't take care of your husband. You can't take care of your family if you don't take care of you. But it's the same thing in a company. If you are ragged out, if you are burned out, if you are exhausted, you can't deliver what that wow. Herb Kelleher was like the founder of Southwest Airlines. He said the customer's not always right. I'm going to support. They always pay the bill, and so we got to keep that in perspective. But they're not always right. We know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to worry about the customer.
I think they are.
They do. Humans always think they're right.
I say somebody else's perspective is somebody else's perception is our reality.
Exactly.
It's our reality. Whether they're right or wrong, it's a reality. It's all
So Herb said, I'm going to take care of my employees, and my employees are going to take care of my customers. Mm-hmm. And so, man, that's the truth. They've had a little problem here lately. Okay.
But it's not an employee issue. It's a computer issue because they didn't listen to the experts.
They didn't listen to the customer.
Update.
Yeah.
The customers and the experts who kept telling them your system's old, you're going to have to invest money in this and update it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I call it the 6 Ps, You got to keep all these balls in a row. You got to make sure you have the right people. You got to make sure you have the right product service that you're offering that's on the way up. It's an Amazon and not a Blockbuster about to go out of business. And then you also got to make sure you got your processes all buttoned up. You got to make sure you have proprietary assets because proprietary is what drives multiple. And you got to have patrons and then profits. Profits is the last. You won't have profits unless you operate on all the other 5 Ps.
Absolutely true. It's a chain. If any link is broke, it doesn't work.
That's right. So I want everybody to get in touch with you because I think you've got some great golden nuggets and a tremendous amount of experience helping people really build that loyal client base, build that lifetime client. So you're not constantly on the hamster wheel, marketing, replacing, because it's gotten much more expensive to replace a customer than it used to be.
It's so expensive.
Yeah.
It's so expensive. And so everybody knows it's much easier to bump the business you do with a current client than it is to go win a new client.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody knows that.
So how can people, first of all, I really want to thank you for being on the show today. I think you dropped a bunch of golden.
Thank you so much.
And number one. And number two, how can our listeners reach out to you? Maybe give them like a 10-second commercial about everything that you do and how they can get a hold of you.
Okay. So my company is Don Williams Global. My website is donwilliamsglobal.com. Okay, that's the simplest. I have a dozen companies. I got a lot of websites, but donwilliamsglobal.com. I pretty much help people one-on-one consulting, group consulting. Okay, so mastermind style. But here's something really coming up. Okay, if you want to build your authority, write a book. What's the root word of authority? Author.
I got it.
The root word of authority is author. March 23rd and 24th, Dallas, Texas. I'm doing a 3-time author seminar. So you be an author in 3 books, 2 co-authors with me, 1 your own book, over 2 days. I guarantee it'll be the most fun you've had all year. And that workshop is coming up. We're going to do it with 20 people, March 23rd and 24th. You can see about it at donwilliamsglobal.com/3x-author. And in 2 days, you can be a 3-time author. And Michelle will tell you, it's better to be an author than not an author. It's better to be a 2-time author than a 1-time author. Better to be a 3-time than a 2.
I'm going for 4.
Yeah. I'm working on book 5 and 6 right now. And nothing establishes authority like being an author. Less than 1% of the world will ever write a book. And so it puts you in rare air. And the perfect book to write is a book about what you do in your business. And
yeah, because, forget the business card, right? The business card doesn't solve anything, but the book is your business card. I will tell you, writing my first book completely changed my business. In 2011, I wrote my very first book, and it completely changed my business because what I do is a best kept secret. Sellers are not going out there and saying, oh, she sold my business, because a lot of times buyers are buying 80% of the business. So they still have equity in the company. So they're not going to go out there and say, oh, Michelle sold my business. And buyers are not going to go out there and say, oh, yeah, I bought my business, bought this business through Michelle, because they don't want people to know the company has been sold. A lot of times it's like, oh, we formed a partnership, And so we were the best kept secret, and we were making a tremendous amount of money for our clients, and we were getting referrals, but nobody really knew who we are and what we do. And we also have the Road to Exit Rich program where we help build businesses to sell. And the only way to get that message out there, really the best way, the most effective way, was to write a book. And it completely increased my visibility. It gave me huge credibility. And it was my number 1 lead generator. Number one. And I always suggest go to an expert like Dawn on doing this. I wrote my very first book with somebody else, not with someone else, but somebody else kind of gave me guidelines, but I ended up doing my own thing anyway. But I write my books in 6 weeks. I have friends that are like, I'm writing my book. Oh, 3 years ago you started.
yeah.
So, you got to get a time frame. You got to stick to it. You got to be disciplined. You got to, and I like what you just said, because unless you're going to write Harry Potter or 50 Shades of Grey, or any of those books, you're not going to make money on a book. You make your money through clients and through the credibility and through the lead gen. And that's how you get an ROI. But you got to have a clear objective, a clear path, and able to get that ROI. And the best way to do it is to work with somebody like Don Williams. 1,000%.
So coming up in Dallas, come see me. 3-time author, 2 days, 1 big fun time. I guarantee it.
Awesome. All right. Well, everybody go to Dallas. So, but if you want good food, come see me in New Orleans. Dallas has good food too. So I used to live in Dallas.
I'm there regularly. Next time I'm in town, we're having a liquid refreshment or dinner or something.
Sounds good. Well, Don, thank you again so much for coming on the Exit Rich show. And most importantly, I'd like to really, really thank all of my listeners, all of our followers. I was very consistent with Exit Rich. I did take a hiatus. I know Don was rescheduled a couple of times. My husband passed away November 11th, unexpectedly.
I'm so sorry.
That's the reason why the show took a hiatus. But I really want to thank all of my guests for their patience in us rescheduling. And of course, all my listeners and followers, because we haven't had a show out since November, beginning of November. So just want to say that if you love this episode, which I know you do, you have to. And so if you're not all, like Zig Ziglar used to say, if you're not fired up, your matches are wet. If you're not fired up, your matches are all wet. So go out there and share this content with your friends, your coworkers, your fellow entrepreneurs, everybody in your circle of influence. Make sure you subscribe to the Exit Rich podcast and tune in next Wednesday at 12 o'clock when we'll have another special guest. Thank you so much, Dawn.
Thank you,
Love the
Michelle.
golden nuggets.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Exit Rich podcast. Don't forget to check out Michelle Seiler Tucker's Build to Sell Blueprint books and Exit Rich, along with more blogs, videos, and resources at exitrichpodcast.com. Be sure to connect with Michelle on Facebook or LinkedIn and stay tuned for her next episode by subscribing in your favorite podcast player.